Hi there, Dead Ideal Boy here, back with another video, and in this one we're going to discuss something that's really been grinding my gears recently. Well, not just recently, for quite a long time. I feel like now is a good time to discuss it. If you could give me your comments and your feelings on the matter, then I would be absolutely delighted to hear them. But before we get into it, I'd just like to say thank you for the recent support that we've had on the channel lately. The subscriber count seems to be flying up at the moment, and believe it or not, 10,000 subscribers doesn't seem quite as far away as it did even this time last week. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you want to help us on the road to 10,000 subscribers, then I would love to have you on board, and it would really help me out and help keep the channel moving along in the direction that it's going, which is quite unbelievable, to be quite honest with you. But enough of all that, let's get into it, into the discussion, and really find out what's grinding my gears at the moment. Now, I'm about to show you a specific example of exactly what I'm talking about. It happened in a race we did yesterday whilst live on stream, and afterwards we had a bit of a review of the incident. We put our sim racing steward hats on and we had a general chat about it. Now, the overwhelming majority of people in the chat agreed that this kind of move was not on, and it was even worse that the position was not given back. Now let's have a look at it. You can see here the Genesis coming up to the braking point at Laguna Seca, hits the back end of the Porsche, almost spins him out, proceeds to carry on, no intention of giving the place back, absolutely none at all, proceeds on with his race and comes across the line ahead of the Porsche. Now, that was for position 11 in the race. 11th. That wasn't a move to try and win a race. That was a move for 11th. Now, let's take a look at it from the Porsche driver's perspective. They're coming down into the braking zone, they're not expecting anybody to be there, the dive comes in, the hit on the rear almost spins them out, pushes them out the way, the Genesis driver continues through, they've picked up the position, the Porsche driver now is in a different battle because he's got a car right on his tail, so he's having to fend him off, whilst the perpetrator drives off into the distance with no penalty. Now, the Genesis driver does not pick up a penalty for this. You can see here, he hits him, pushes him out, and off he goes. No penalty. I can only presume the game didn't deem the contact strong enough to warrant any damage, and the car that was almost spun out and lost the position didn't leave the track. So the Genesis driver has effectively got away with that absolutely scot-free. No penalty. Where's the discouragement to drive like that? To me, it can only encourage people who want to drive like that to continue doing so. Like I said, no discouragement to these drivers, because the very same driver in the very next race, just the most subtle of pushes off the track there onto the blue Nissan, and again off he goes into the distance without penalty. Now, this driver in particular was absolutely shameful for it yesterday. You can see here another example of it when the Nissan GTR goes round the outside of him and he dives up the inside. There's not a lot of contact there, but watch this as they go up the hill, as he drives over and tries to subtly push the GTR off the track, and he ends up getting the position back because the GTR driver, well, he just couldn't fight that sort of tactic round the outside. There was a sweet finish though to that race though, when he nearly lost it there, overshot the final corner slightly, and you see the GTR driver, Wayne Industries, getting up the inside, and I think he probably enjoyed that switchback quite a lot. And once again here, you'll see the same driver performing the most subtle of runoffs there, sending his opponent into the gravel pit, and again driving off without penalty. Absolutely shameful. You'll see here the driver that he ran off though wasn't having it, and he ends up just going for the punt, the downright absolute takeout attempt. Again though, miraculously he survives it and he picks up the 2-second penalty. So that just says it all. It was a penalty, absolutely justified 2-second penalty, but you can understand the Spanish driver's frustration with what had just gone on there. And we were also a victim of it yesterday. You can see here, turn 1, lap 1, we get slightly pushed out, Not much, not going to get a penalty, but it compromises my exit, and I'm now under pressure from all the cars behind. You can see here, they just start picking me off as I'm out of position. I've not got any momentum, and it just became a really difficult race for me after that. All the while, the person who's pushed you out the way continues up the road, absolutely unaffected by it. But for every 10 of these absolutely idiotic drivers, you get the odd shining light. You can see here, Yassar goes over the sausage, knocks Carhal slightly wide. Now, at the time, he drove on and you're thinking to yourself, it's just been another one of those incidents. Well, not quite. But at the end of the lap, you will see a lovely act of sportsmanship as Carhal is allowed to reclaim the position. The Dutchman moved just over to the left, allowing him back through, and it was just really nice to see there is some sportsmanship left out there. Now, to wrap things up, I'm not saying for a minute that everybody is a push to pass sort of a driver, because let's face it, the majority of us are not. The majority of us want to go out there and race the way we would expect to be raced against, and that is clean and fair. Now, if you are prepared to risk your reputation on the track by pushing someone aside, even if it's accidental, and not giving the position back, then that's up to you, because at the end of the day, it's your reputation. And believe you me, people get reputations on this game. People remember names, names then get talked about, and all that sort of thing. You become known as that sort of driver, and people will then race against you the way that they are perceiving you to race against others, including them. And I'm quite prepared for those coming into the comment section to tell me to stop moaning, stop complaining about it, it's only a game, it's not real life, all of that sort of thing. However, for a lot of us, this is a really important piece of our leisure time, and we want to jump on and have some good clean racing as fairly as possible. We get it, mistakes will be made, but if you're not prepared to give positions back once you've created a situation where you've caused someone to lose a position, accidental or not, then like I said, it's your reputation that's on the line, and that's a sad thing to see. But I do want to hear from you in the comments about your experiences on track at the moment and how you're finding GT7. Is the racing as bad as I'm making out? Is it worse for you, or is it a lot better? Are you finding it actually pretty good out there? I'd love to know everybody's sort of range of experiences. And before you go, if you've enjoyed this video, I know it's not been the most positive, however, I think it's something important that we discuss. And if you have enjoyed the discussion and want to get into it a bit more in the comments, then that would be great. Whilst you're there, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, help us get towards that 10,000 subscriber dream, and I'll see you all on the next one.